Fake It Till You Make It kit that I created in June. And I just made the last layout last night. And I think I've squeezed everything I can squeeze layout-wise from this giant kit that I made. I am going to go back and see if I can make some cards, but that is down the line a little bit. You also might notice that I'm covering my kids' faces. That's something I'll be doing going forward on the channel. I've tried to remove my content that shows their faces. So if you ever come across any that you see my kids' faces, would you please let me know? Because I would like to pull it down. All right. So first one, this was one of the early ones that I made. Generational hand-me-downs, or my daughter is wearing one of my old coats that I wore when I was her age. And for this one, I cut this kind of cherry blossom type paper down to mat it. It went perfectly with this journaling card. And then I added little touches of stickles, gold stickles, and the dewdrop type embellishments and clusters. This is a 2-page layout. And I believe I have a process video for this one, so I will link that here. I don't even know if I remember everything I did on this, so feel free to go watch that process video. But I think I wallpapered other cardstock. Yeah, so I have this ugly cardstock back here, and I had an 8.5 by 11 of this floral that I used in the middle. I had an 8.5 by 11 of this green that I split up to be the 2 different sides of the layout, because I didn't really have 2 of either of these to use. So that's how I stretched those. And then I had a lot of fun building these little embellishment clusters with, I believe, an earlier Paige Evans collection embellishments. This one, I really enjoyed this one. Ice cream solves everything. And it's just talking about a local ice cream restaurant that had opened up at the time and us going on a mommy-daughter date. I was able to use some of my homemade stickers, the labels and hearts. I did some fussy cutting of some of the cut-apart cards I included, more layering of flowers, and I got to use the faux layout that I made. It was perfect. It had the right letters I needed in pink. So I loved the look of those alphabets with all the different colors, but honestly, I have a hard time using them. So I liked that I was able to use it in a monochromatic way. This is a layout of me being a bad mom. This is pretty simple. I threw in some flair that I don't think I originally included in my kit, but I got to use this paper from the kit, and I had included some kind of rainbow gradient thickers. I got to include that and use some of the grid and star paper as well. I love it when the colors are just perfect. I just love it when that happens. This is another, I think, early one that I made. This is my favorite paper, perhaps of all time. Like, it's just gorgeous. It's like clouds with a gradient. I just love it. And I've had a hard time using it, so I was happy I found a way to use it. I got to use a lot of the cut-apart tickets, some of the little cut-apart cards as well. I don't know if I threw in the washi in the kit or if I just decided to add it because it went so well with the background paper. And then I also got to use some of the little foam hearts from the white, thicker type sentiments that I had included. I don't know if I ever got to use any of the sentiments, but I got to use the hearts. So I'll count it. I had a hard time with this one. I had a really difficult time kind of getting the photos to be cropped the correct way and matting them correctly on the page and just figuring out the layout. It was kind of a pain. I believe I included these thickers in the kit. More of the cut apart tickets. This is the homemade pattern paper that I made. I had a hard time using it too because it was just so pretty. It was really kind of hard to cut into. But with all the rainbow kind of nail polish colors and my daughter's sandals and everything, it was fun to use some rainbow colors. I just kind of had to do it in small doses. So, because the pictures are pretty busy, so I didn't want to kind of overwhelm them. This was also in my kit, this little button that I just cut the shank off the back and was able to use that. And then I did the faux mitering on the corners because I did not use a whole sheet on the back. I just trimmed this down and then faux mitered the edges. This is another 2-page. I don't believe I've shared this one yet. I don't think I did a, oh, and I need to fix that. This is because the trimmer that I had with me was not a great trimmer, so I'm gonna have to fix that, clean that up a little bit. But this was a day that my daughter and we styled all of her dolls. They were kind of all being unloved at the time, and so we got them out and we fixed their hair and we dressed them up and we organized all of her stuff, and it was really, really fun. So I got to use some of the foam kind of label stickers that I had thrown into the kit. I got to use some of the floral buttons. I did some fussy cutting from some cut-aparts that matched this. Got to use some of my stickers, homemade stickers that I had made. More of the buttons. And I believe I added the doily. And then the papers that were in the original kit is this green and this plaid rainbow strip. I'm not sure that I included this green solid, but I might have, because look what I did on the back. I just pieced them together and then washi it. So I could see that I maybe did include both, and I just cut it so it it doesn't even overlap. Look at that. They're just literally butted up together and held together with washi. And you can't tell. It looks like I laid this down on top of it. All right, this one uses the Scrapbook Generation Rainbow Burst paper that I had chosen as a dupe for another paper, and the hexagons that went with it, also SG paper. And then my daughter's wearing this cool rainbow barrette, which is, you know, kind of what inspired all the colors of the page, but then she's also wearing black. And I love black with rainbow. It just really pops. And I got to use some of those rainbow thickers that I had put in, or multicolored thickers, some flair, the foam labels. And on the rainbow thickers sheet, there was a ton of different, these little kind of vinyl 3D hearts. So there was some that were printed on the SG paper, but whenever there was not one printed, I just went ahead and added one of the vinyl stickers. And I cut out the middle so that I could use it as a mat for my daughter's page. So it looks like everything's been double matted. This is one of the later ones that I made. I love this rainbow paper. This is the Dark Rainbow collection from Holo Taco. And I had matched it with like a rainbow of crims that I had that also matched like the linears. And so I had this fun little rainbow picture. And so it had these darker colors. I really liked that they really seem to go together well. For the title, I just did my own hand-cut version of one of the rainbows from the background. Used up some enamel hearts, some of the homemade stickers that I had. I fussy cut a few from scraps, and I got to use the grid paper for the clouds. And another one where I faux mitered the back because I ended up using some of this navy in other places, I believe, including the mat, but I think I used it in other places too. All right, so this is the layout I did. This is the day after school let out. It's our first day of summer break, and we got to go out, run some errands, and have a nice kind of fun lunch. So I got to use the alphabet paper. Some of the little things that I had thrown in and added to the kit as I went. I used my star die cuts to build up the embellishment clusters. These foam stars are also from the kit. They're from the same sheet that the little foam hearts were on. I believe I'd included these navy with holographic letter tile stickers from Chamel in the kit as well. And it's really hard to tell, but I also matted these on grid paper because that type of thing really makes me think of school. All right, so here's where I finally got to use the bulk of my homemade pattern paper. This is a busy layout. I acknowledge that. The papers are busy. The photos are busy. They're messy. It's chaotic, but it's also just such a sweet memory. And it's a memory that's very similar to my daughter, frankly. She's kind of chaotic and colorful and sweet. And so I just went with it. Got to use the rest of those rainbow striped paper. I had used the back side of this. It's black and white floral. You'll see it later. But I had included it really for the rainbow hearts. So I made sure to include a strip of that. And then my homemade pattern paper. I did a little covering up of seams here because I used this whole sheet of cardstock, but I think I had to hide this. Like I cut this into 2 pieces and tucked it underneath. There were some cut apart cards that I had left over from another card, kind of round of cards that I had made and had thrown into the kit. I got to use some of the teeny tiny floral buttons. I think I'd thrown the tag into the kit. This was a cut apart from the kit. The little floral button is also from the kit. So lots of kit goodies right there. This is one of the later ones that I made. I struggled. I tried to use one of the pattern papers from the kit and it just didn't feel right. So I ended up pulling this background piece from my stash. I had included the vellum to put over some of the those rainbow homemade alphas that I had, but I didn't end up ever using it that way. So I just tore some strips and put it underneath my photos, used up the rest of my flowers, I think. There might be like a couple left, but I used up the bulk of the flowers on this, one of the cut aparts that I'd thrown in. And I used the little foam flowers and foam flower centers that were thrown in here as well. All right, guys, we're getting there. 3 more. This was one of my favorites. I made this on a scrapbooking retreat at the end of September. And I kind of love scrapping on retreats because they force me to use what I have and to maybe get a little more creative with it. So I had scraps from my actual kit that I used for all of these die cut leaves and vines and things. I used mist to color the backside of some of them because I was using, I don't know if they were white. Yeah, see, this is a yellow paper. I don't know if you can see that. That's a yellow paper that I didn't have a use for, but I used the backside that was white and then I just misted with the different colors of mist to get it where I wanted it. I was happy that I got to use this because I had included it in the kit and was really struggling with using it, but the colors were perfect. I really loved this paper, so I was happy that I had an opportunity to use it with very complimentary pictures that I have been really enjoying looking back on. And if you notice this blue, I included it, possibly for the blue, but I just love that purple. But I did make sure to include a piece from the other side here so that you could see some of that blue that I had included. I still had these scraps left over from the American Girl doll layout and they coordinated, so I used them too. And then all of these labels had been in my original kit. All right, this is another layout that I made on that scrapbooking retreat. And it basically was really just using papers at this point from my kit. So I was using up the rest of the rainbow plaid, the rest of the rainbow sky, and the pink heart papers. And then I had just purchased the Spectrum Gardenia butterflies. So it seemed like a natural opportunity to use those. and my daughter she's growing up way too much. It's not okay. In the back was that painterly background. I don't think I ever really used this for a layout besides using this heart side of it. Last one. All right, this one I just did last night. I just finished it last night. So this is a black and white floral paper. I had included it for the rainbow hearts on the side. I was able to use one piece of that, but I just loved this black and white floral. And it always makes rainbow colors pop to me. And so as I was using this paper, I really felt like these pictures went with this paper, but I also felt like it was too plain. It needed more color. And I noticed the kind of watered down, faded watercolor spots that were in the original paper. So I decided I would watercolor these. I watercolor kind of in a visual triangle. So I just used my distress inks and squished them down on a paint palette and added some water and then painted these in with all the different colors. And I didn't stress much about like having colors from my photos. I just went with the rainbow of 6 distress inks. Sometimes I mix them together. So like this is a green and a blue together. And so you'll see like different shades of orange and different shades of yellow and different shades of red because they're all kind of mixing with different ones. But I really love how it turned out. I just think that's really cool. I was able to top them with rainbow rhinestones from my stash. And then this, I think I had these stickers in there, but I don't know anymore. But they were white foam thickers. And then I just took a Sharpie and colored like 1.5 of each with a rainbow color. And then I took a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol and kind of went over it to soften it and blend it a little bit so that it looks more gradiated. Also, there's some Franken letters here. These S's, or I call them Franken letters. They're not really Franken letter. I don't know what you'd call this, but these were W's, but I was out of S's. This was the number 8, but it was my last number 8, so I couldn't do that again. So I did have to get kind of creative. That's a 0 because I wanted a capital and I was out of capital O's, that type of thing. And then I snuck one last sticker on there. So yeah, that's my kit, guys. I think I'm not going to call this kit killed because like I said, I think I can make some, I can still make like quite a number of cards from it, but I don't know if I'm going to do that this week or if I'm going to wait until I'm feeling inspired by the kit again. That's kind of why this took me so long. I hit it really hard this summer and then school started and that was nuts. But also I needed a break just from the kit. It had been intense and it had been enough. So I had to step away from it for a little while. And I was glad I did because when I came back, I was excited to work with it again. And that's always the best when you're excited to do your thing. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next Monday with something. I don't know what yet. In the meantime, I hope you have a happy, scrappy week.